Welcome to Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show! Ooh la la. Well. Whew. Good day and welcome back to this new edition of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. For this episode, I had to climb every mountain. Wow, I really had to climb every mountain, as you can see. But before we begin, please you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content from Sir-Kenneth. Without further ado, let's get into it. So today I'll be talking about a book. It's a review on a book I read recently. The author is Mbaacha Andong, someone I know. And the title is Publicly a Scientist and Secretly a Creative, helping creatives to boldly showcase their work of art. So I was really interested in this book because I happen to be creative. Like what we're doing, we are creating content. So I really felt like this book was meant for me. And the book is divided into 5 chapters. And I really could identify with each and every of these chapters because I feel like it's the journey of every creative. It talks about the journey of every creative from scratch till you get to the top. Yeah, so we will begin with the first chapter. Okay, so the first chapter is some sort of intro like into his book. He talks about like the new era. He calls it Pangea. I'm not sure if it's Pangaya or Pangaea, but I know it does have to do like with an era, like the time when the earth was all made up of one continent before it split. Those who did geography know better. But he talks about the Pangaea, the new Pangaea. And by Pangaea here, it's some sort of metaphor which he like compares to the internet being the new Pangaea, like social media and everything that goes with it. So he talks about creatives using the new Pangaea to be creative. Like there is no excuse for you not to reach out to a wide audience in this new era when you have the internet. I think that's very true and very pertinent. And he also talks about who creatives are. When he talks about who creatives are and what they do, here he mentions writers, content creators, YouTubers, graphic designers, entrepreneurship basically. Like anything you do on yourself, for yourself, and not depending on anyone else, you are a creative. And so he identifies who creatives are, and he talks about how they can use their creative power in this new era. And that's what I really do love about this first chapter. And also there's a part in his book, I think it's page 18. It's in bold actually. He says there is no spotlight behind the scene. So if you are a creative, you must come forward. You must come forward and you must show what you do to the whole world. Okay, you cannot say you're a creative and you're hiding behind the scenes like, oh, you're shy to show out. Of course, everybody's not going to like what you do, but it's better than sitting behind the scenes. You need to show up and show out. Like, because I'm pretty sure, even if there's some negativity about what you do, though obviously like the positive will always outshine the negative. So you always need to be confident and like come into the spotlight and showcase whatever you do to the entire world. And so that's it that's basically a brief resume for the first chapter. Okay, now for the second chapter, this is actually my favorite chapter of this book. And I'll tell you why it is my favorite chapter. He talks about, being boring as a creative. Being boring. And, being boring doesn't necessarily mean you should produce something useless. Being boring it could also be likened to like being unique in what you do. Because at times when you do what is like everybody else does, people will be like, okay, wow, I've seen this before. Yes, it might be interesting, but if everybody is doing it, then there is nothing special about what you are bringing to the table. So he talks about being boring and, always appreciate the micro steps. Micro steps are, little steps, little advancements you do in whatever you're doing. Like if you are maybe a YouTuber and, today you begin with a camera, tomorrow you have like maybe a microphone, and then bit by bit, you have 1 subscriber, 2 subscribers. Appreciate these little steps because they are very important in whatever you do. And he also talks about not being in a haste to get discovered. And that's very important. And he really explained why you shouldn't be in a haste to get discovered because, with fame comes a lot of pressure and negativity as well. Okay, if you look at every popular, creative, every popular artist, every popular writer, any popular actor, any popular person there's some load of negativity that comes with that comes with fame. And if you are a new creative and you are just being in a hurry to create and be famous, you might not be able to handle this negativity at once. Like, it takes time to be able to adapt to it. But if you just get into the business and you're like, okay, wow, I want to be at the top, trust me, the negativity might make you shy away from what you do. So do not be in a haste to be in the spotlight, to be famous in whatever you're doing. So I appreciate every moment of obscurity while it lasts. Okay, so the third chapter, I really do love the third chapter as well of this book. It talks about moving across the spectrum of creativity. The spectrum of creativity, and also talks about imitation, about you not limiting yourself to imitation. Of course, as a creative, I don't think for 90% of creators, there's nothing you will create that has not been created before. But now, what makes your own version of what you're creating special from others? That's what he talks about in this chapter, okay? Moving across the spectrum of creativity, okay? So there are the different spectrums in creativity. You could start at imitation. Well, you could be like, okay, if you are a footballer, no, let me not say football, if you are a musician, for example, and there's a specific kind of artist you like listening to, and you'll be like, okay, I want to sing like this artist. Make sure you are not singing, you're not doing exactly what this artist is doing. You could do it, but let there be, you should have some identity to what you'll be singing, okay? That's just an example. Same for writers, same for if you are an author and you love an author like, I don't know, Agatha Christie, who is like a genius when it comes to murder mysteries. If you want to write a murder mystery, don't make it too identical to what Agatha Christie has written before. And I'm talking about Death on the Nile, her book Death on the Nile, Murder on Orient Express, and all her other bestseller, murder mystery books, okay? So he talks about you being like unique in what you're doing, like spectrum, moving to the spectrum of creativity, like bringing your own touch to whatever you're bringing to the table. So do not limit yourself to imitation. Do not limit yourself to reproduction. Go further, be a creative. I mean, that's what it takes to be a creative. You need to be creative. You need to think outside of the box, okay? Be creative. Don't just imitate and reproduce what other people are doing. Yes, you can be inspired by someone, but for you to be a photocopy of another artist is like a complete turn off, okay? So learn how to be creative without necessarily imitating what others do. Okay, so there are two more chapters left, the fourth and the fifth chapter, but I won't tell you what these chapters are about. If not, y'all are not going to buy the book. However, I will tell you my favorite part of these chapters is, I think it's part of the fourth chapter. He talks about learning to take a punch, dealing with those harsh reviews as a creative. I mean, it's inevitable. As a creative, you must have negative reviews, but learn how to take them and make them constructive, okay? Use every review, be it negative or positive, make every review constructive in whatever you are doing, okay? Don't let a harsh review like make you cry or make you stop doing what you're doing, okay? Because everybody needs a little bit of harshness at times, okay, to go. I mean, that's the only way you move forward. Because let's be real, if you don't have any negative reviews, you'll be on the same spot forever. You need those negative reviews to keep you forward, to keep you like pushing you forward and keep you going. So always learn how to take these negative reviews and make them constructive in whatever you are doing. So that's my favorite part of these last two chapters, okay? So
the author spoke about, being able to take a punch as a creative. And so I'd like to give a few punches to his work of art, okay? So I won't talk about the size of the book. It's okay to have like a pocket size kind of book. It's okay. But the problem is at the level of the font size. It's really, really small. I mean, if you're going to make a small book, let your fonts be visible enough. Okay, that's the first problem I have. The second problem, well, not really a problem. This is Mbaacha Andong, that's the author's name. Okay, this is the first cover page and the fourth cover page. Now, the first cover page is dedicated to, the author's name, the book title, and the publisher's logo. I'm guessing there's no publisher's logo. Well, I'm guessing it's self-published, so it's okay if there is no publisher's logo. Okay, so I was saying this is the first cover page, and the fourth cover page is meant for the resume of the book and the author's presentation. Well, there is no resume in the book. There's no resume in the book. I don't know why, but there is the presentation of the author. It's inside the book. I think it's around the last pages. Okay, so this is the author's presentation. It's on 2 pages. Well, 1 3/4 pages, but let's just say 2 on 2 pages. Now, this is the thing. This is the problem I have with this resume. The resume, it doesn't, as an author, when you're presenting yourself, you should say things that will credit you as an author. Okay, talk about books you've published before. If you haven't published any book before, like talk about your experience in the writing field. Like, have you participated in writing competitions? Have you won any AC awards? Poetry, anything that concerns writing that you have done, mention it. Have you gone to writing school and things like that? Okay, are you planning to publish other books? Do you have other books that's still in the works? You should mention all of that. That you should credit yourself as an author. But that's not the case in this author's presentation. Okay, I don't know if the author was scared to present himself as an author, to credit himself as an author. I don't know, but I'm saying so because I know this author. I know he has done a lot. Despite him being a first-time author, he has done a lot to deserve a lot of credit, and I feel like he was scared to credit himself. I don't know why, but I know he deserves the credit because he has earned it. Okay, so that's another issue I have with the book.
Okay, now let's go to the interior of the book. This is the title page. It has the author's name, the title, and this is the second title page. Normally, this is supposed to be on the right side. Okay, title pages are never on the left side. Being the first or the second, it's supposed to be on the right side, and immediately after it should be the copyright text. This is the copyright text. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the copyright symbol, which is an issue because that symbol is very, very necessary when it comes to copyright, and it's difficult to know this is a copyright text if you don't read it through. But once you see the symbol, everyone will know your work is copyrighted. Okay, yeah, so those are the few issues I had with the book, but altogether I think it's a beautiful work of art. For the first time published author, I think it's actually great. Okay, and courage to my brother Mbaacha Andong on his efforts, and I hope to read more from him. Oof, ladies and gentlemen, like I told you at the beginning of this video, I had to climb every mountain for this. Okay, and I meant that literally. Okay, look where we are, and so now I need to get back down. So thank you for staying to Sir-Kenneth, and I hope to see you next time for more content. Stay tuned, subscribe, share, like. Stay blessed. Peace.